Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Jesus TV. My return subscribers, thank you all so very much for always coming back to view my channel. I really appreciate you all. My new viewers, you're welcome. Please make yourselves comfortable and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like and share my videos, and don't forget to comment nicely. Your comments means a lot to me. Yes, your opinions count. My own is to bring gist. If I hear any gist, I'll bring gist to you people, and of course you can as well say your own. That is the way it works here. Okay guys, you remember when I told you people that you cannot cover a good character. A good woman is a good woman irrespective of what your opinion is. Someone with a good heart will always have a good heart. So you all know that when the king came to marry Queen Naomi, that he said he saw something in her. I mean, Queen Naomi came to the palace to preach to him, and from there they married. They agreed to marry, and people were like, "What is a born again Christian doing with a traditionalist, a traditional man? I mean, how is she going to cope in the palace?" Because you all heard, you all know they said there are 300 and something deities in the palace. I don't know, allegedly. And yes, of course, you all know that the king is a soul, as in, he is, when I mean a traditionalist, he is. Because if you notice, during Olori Elizabeth's Thanksgiving, he was not there. It was just Olori Agba, Olori Marian that was there. Yes, she's Olori Agba. In case you don't know, Olori Agba, which stands for a queen that brings unity, a queen that that takes after her husband heart. Like someone who is in charge of other Oloris. So she was the one that went with Olori Elizabeth. When Olori actually did Prince Ade's Thanksgiving service, Olori Mariam was there too. The king was not present. Of course, you already know why. So when Queen Naomi was coming for this wedding, they told her, for this going for this marriage, they told her. But you all know the matters of the heart. During that period, she told the king, there are things that I cannot do, certain things that I cannot do. As a Christian, is against my religion. As a born again Christian, the king accepted. Oh, you can be doing your devotional service in this corner of in your Yeoluwa quarters. That is where she stays. And you can be hosting your crusades. You can't go far, but you can still host it since you want to do evangelism because she does evangelism. So king gave her access to do the crusade in front of the palace. Yes, because as an Olori, she can't go far uh for her own security. So when she was doing all those things, it was like a lot of people, a lot of traditionalists in that palace were against it. They were telling the king, this cannot be happening. The Olori cannot be taking her, doing her Christian stuff in this palace. She also, from the palace, she also do her morning devotions on social media. Like she hosts fellowships on social media, to her fellowship members, because she owned a church before the king married her, and the church is still running, though she's not always putting it up on social media. So a lot of people that were against her, they were all connived, they all sat together to plan against her because of her prayers. According to what they said, allegedly her prayers was disturbing a lot of people in that palace. So they planned and manipulated her, they triggered her. Like there was a time, according to what they said, the gist, she left the palace the first time when she was pregnant with the prince's pregnancy. she was triggered, she left with the pregnancy. They went to plead with her. They begged. In fact, that was the first time Queen Naomi left. In case you don't know, they begged and begged her. They pleaded with her with everything and all, and she came back. She got so kind. She delivered the prince safely in the palace, and a lot. According to what they said, that she wanted to leave when she delivered the prince because a lot of attack were coming on the prince. Like it was too much. The Prince Tade was always sick in the palace. She had to pray. She was always praying. In fact, she can't leave. She started going to prayers to the mountain to pray for her son, for her son's well-being and all that. And as God will have it, God took charge. The prince, they stopped, the attack stopped, allegedly. So they now started like, okay, if she remains in the palace, she was going to cause a lot for them and they needed her out. They said Iyanifa warned them that her heart is pure, that they should allow her to be in the palace, allow her to be where she wants to be. She should do her prayers as long as, people are not attacking her. Her prayers will not, attack anybody. Her prayers will not attack anybody. They should let that be. They should not manipulate her out. And not just that, a lot of these women were actually coming to the palace, allegedly. They were always coming, they were always shoving it in her face. They were always doing it in her face, like, the king, this is a king, he's supposed to marry like 7 wives. Before then, though as a king, yes, he's supposed to marry like more wives. But they said when he came to marry Queen Naomi, he assured her that he wasn't going to marry any other woman, that she was going to be his only woman, his only wife then. So this was going on in the palace. He even said, oh, you remember how, okay, the friend, his friend, Oluwa of Uwo, he has a wife, he has one wife, and they've been married for like, that was before the separation, that him too, he can also do it. He can also marry and have only one wife. That he doesn't want to, although the king is a one person, he doesn't want to have numerous wives, but because of his position, he has to. And because they've been telling him that is the only way the kingdom can stand and all his wishes can be granted. He has to make up this. That throne requires 7 wives. Yes, not 6, 7. So that was what they were battling, and of course, till what broke the camel's back, Queen Naomi could not take it anymore. She left. But because she's a good woman, she only came to say she doesn't want to be associated with the palace again. She just wants to be on her own. Because yes, one of the things that made her left, allegedly, was the fact that it was time for the king to start bringing in his other women, the other wives, which was compulsory. Queen Naomi said she doesn't want to be numbered. Even if Queen Naomi sees, because if she remains in the palace, even if she sees the king with another woman, she cannot say anything, because yes, it is said that the king is entitled to as many women as he wants to. But they said that this woman is a good woman, that the king should watch when she leaves the palace. They didn't tell her if she exposes herself anyhow everywhere, that means she was not meant for the king. But if she still carries herself well, that means she's still meant for the king. And Queen Naomi not being aware of that, you can now see that, she's a well-respected person, even without being in the palace. She carries herself well. She wears her crown well, even without a kingdom. So now they are saying that Queen Naomi has to make up to be the seventh wife, because if not, why is it that other women that the king wanted to marry after he did Olori Elizabeth, in fact before he even did Olori Elizabeth final wedding, because it took a lot of time for Olori Elizabeth to come to acceptance that, oh okay, finally I want to do this, I want to see if I can juggle between Nigeria and Ireland. Before that, there are other two women that the king was supposed to marry. One is an American citizen. She's still an American citizen. They said she's a nurse in America. One is an Igbo lady. She stays in America too. Nobody knows what happened, how those plans to marry those two ended. And of course, those two has moved ahead with their lives and they are married now. So they are now saying that Queen Naomi is coming back to take up the seventh wife. They rather bring in Queen Naomi as the seventh wife. If not, I don't know what the if not meant, allegedly. Because normally the king is supposed to marry, like, for the prophecy to be complete, 7 wives. It's not going to end in 6. There has to be a 7th wife. You all know the story. Like, if you reason it, it goes with that story of the king with 7 wives. The first wife brings peace. The second wife this, the third wife, and the last wife is supposed to be the one to take care of him in his old age. Like, everybody has their own assignments. That is how this thing is going. So they are saying that is why they said that they've been sending a lot of people to go and plead with Queen Naomi. And when the elders went to beg iyanifa to release Queen Naomi so that she can finally go and settle down with her life, because she's still a young woman, she wants to still get married, to love and to be loved, to have other children to have other siblings for Prince Tade, so that Prince Tade can have other siblings. They said the king sent people, to elders, to the iyanifa, not to perform the rituals for her to, for her to be to leave the palace, for her to not to leave the palace, for her to be separated from the king and all that. So that is what is going on. But me, I'm still wondering, allegedly, I'm still wondering if she's going to wait till the prince becomes of age. Yes, they have certain age that the prince can actually visit the palace, stay with his dad, then she can as well move on. But the other women with the king that had a child for the king, apart from that had a child, that have a child for the king, not had, that have a child for the king, they never remarried. Yes, they never remarried. But the children, have a good relationship with with their father. So this is to tell you that this issue of most of you telling Queen Naomi, oh, she should move ahead with her life. It is not easy. It is easier said than done. It is not easy the way you're saying it. She has it. I used to say it right from the one that she left the palace, that it is not going to be easy. They have a tie, and that is Prince Tade, the first son of Ooni of Ife, Oba Enitan Adeye. That is never going to be easy for her and the king. There is always a tie. So even the other women that came in, she will always be in their faces, and you all know why. So that is it. She still remains, but even for the iyanifa, she doesn't want to even perform the rituals to release her, because she still remains a good person with a good heart. And of course, if not for being triggered, and what was done to her, she would have still been, a lot of people love her in Ile-Ife. You cannot, when you mention her name, they still love, even here, they still love her. So that tells a lot. She refused, they refused to perform the last rituals, allegedly. Thank you all so very much for always coming around for view my channel. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please do well to subscribe. Don't forget to like and share my videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day. Bye.